Welcome to the ultimate backstage pass, the pulsating heart of the high school sports universe. Get ready to rock with the gang from the Corner to Corner podcast as they take their sports obsessions to new heights. Meet the dream team, Sean Kiper, Neil Payne, Adam Muncy, Wes Crouch, and Daron Stevens, as they unpack the secrets, emotions, and triumphs that light up our local sports heroes. Whether you're gearing up for a game or unleashing cheers from the stands, get ready for an exclusive scoop that'll knock your socks off. It's showtime!
From Corner to Corner Coach's Corner, presented by WinCity Sports Cards, episode 264. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, let's take a moment to thank all of our sponsors who make all this possible. Community Trust Bank, Kimsoft, WinCity Sports Cards, 22 Sweet Treats, CRC Renovations, Kentucky Realty Group, Jacob's Auto Body, Kelwell Commissary and Simply Secure, and Brent Weehunt's Kentucky Farm Bureau. If you haven't yet, give us a follow, share it out to all your friends. We're trying to get to 2,000 followers on Facebook, and we're almost there, so share that out. Ask them to like our page. Tonight, we are honored to have Twanny Beckham with us, former UK player back in the from the 2010 to 2013 range. He's here to talk about the upcoming TBT tournament and the La Familia team that's going to be representing UK here in that tournament. So, Twanny, thanks so much for coming, making the drive and joining us.
Sir, man, thank y'all for having me. I'm so glad and happy and blessed to be here.
Absolutely.
So, how did you get involved with this, with the La Familia team?
Man, so I got called by somebody I know, somebody I trust and respect in the kind of the business world here in Lexington. And I heard that TBT had been trying to put like a Kentucky-only TBT team in Lexington for quite some time, or for the past several years, and they just didn't have nobody like with boots on the ground that could execute it and see it through. And this person that called me said, man, he thought a lot about me, and he said, man, if anybody can make this work, it's you. And I thought that was like, an honor for somebody to think that of me. And so I met with TBT, and I kind of learned of like kind of in a full totality what it is, and what the opportunity looks like. And I just relished at the fact that we're going to be playing games in Rupp Arena again, and been able to like call my guys, my former teammates, and some players from the brotherhood, and just kind of pitch them on this idea. So I said, man, I want to do it, and I want to take the bull by the horn and see this through and execute. And from the start, man, I've put 110% into this, and I'm excited to get started.
So July 19th, we're going to see the final product on the court.
Yes, sir.
Before we get there, is there roster cuts? What goes into making a TBT team?
Yeah, so that's a good question. When you start out recruiting, you of course you Google or you get on the internet, you like, man, what all guys are out there to get? 90% of the guys are in the NBA.
Kind of, narrow it like a little bit.
Most of the guys are that
talent is over perfection, right?
All of the guys are that you are one of your teams in the NBA, but then you look and say, wow, there's actually a lot of guys who are really good players that had really great careers here that are not in the NBA, or they maybe had a short stint in the NBA. So I immediately and very quickly hired a team. And so what we did, we sat down every night and said, man, let's go through who we think we can get, who we know. Let's see if we know anybody that knows this person. And so, man, it was a concerted effort to get in contact with guys. So, first we reached out to everybody, and we just kind of see who all was interested. And then from there, man, we kind of made our choices and our selection. So, my final roster will be kind of intact July 12th. We got like another week. We got like a few more guys that we're waiting on, but we pretty much have a full roster right now. Tyler Eulis is our head coach. And, he didn't want too many guys. He wanted between 9 and 11 was like his sweet spot. And right now we're at 10. And so if we get one more guy within the next week, we'll be happy. But right now, we're very thrilled with our roster.
If you need a water boy, Wes is available. So you get the job, and you're looking. You talk about looking at all the players. There's a lot of the guys in the NBA. Was there one guy that you were like, I gotta get that guy?
It was first. Literally, it was Willie Cauley-Stein.
Oh,
I played with Willie. His freshman year was my senior year. And I knew he had been kind of in and out of the league, bouncing around kind of overseas. But just what Willie brings to the floor is like he's a freak. 7'1", can move, can block shots, can finish at the rim and above the rim. And so I'm like, man, having somebody like him in this type of setting where we can protect the basket and then get out and run and jump, I'm like, I gotta have Willie.
Yeah.
And so Willie was like one of the first calls that I made, and he was like, bro, I'm in. Like if you believe this much, got this much passion behind this, I'm in. I'm with you, bro. And so he was like the second domino effect to fall. The first one was Eric Bledsoe. And so you have, Eric Bledsoe, and then you have Willie Cauley-Stein. So we had a good nucleus to start with.
Pretty good start.
Yeah, it's pretty good start with pretty good start. And so, reaching out to everybody else, I'm like, yo, listen, we have Eric and we got our point guard and we have our center. And I just had to put the pieces in between that to make our team come to fruition.
Is Daniel playing too, I think?
Yeah, Daniel Orge's going to play.
We've had him on the show.
Oh, okay, nice.
Before a couple months ago. Connections there. The guy that I work for, his son plays for Daniel's
his team.
team.
Okay. Yeah,
so
Daniel's
man, used to work that one.
That's my brother, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I think Daniel's gonna bring a lot to our team. I know he's getting himself back in pretty good shape. 7-foot guy as well.
Yeah.
We rolling out the floor with 2 7-footers.
And Willie was always a fan favorite too. So I mean, that right there will bring bring people out to watch him play. I'm sure.
And he's hungry. I mean, he's hungry. I mean, Willie wants to get back in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he wants to use this opportunity to kind of showcase, his talent and showcase what he's been doing in the gym in the off season, and hopefully he can get some looks from this.
Nice. So you have your roster. You're making your roster. Obviously, it takes money to run a team for the TBT. Yeah. What kind of fundraising or what kind of efforts have had to go into getting money?
So man, that's a whole different aspect to this, man. I knew that recruiting the type of players that I was recruiting in this, that I was gonna have to have a pretty nice amount of money. I mean, and I didn't really think about it that deeply at first. I mean, you got to fly guys in, you got to put guys in nice hotels, you got to feed guys. You can have per diem. You want to do nice things, take guys out to eat. You want to do nice things for these guys. I mean, because in all honesty, they're giving up their summer. I mean, and if we win this thing, I mean, it's a 3-week process. So they're giving up a pretty big chunk of their summer. So you have to make it sweet for them. So, I mean, I did all I could do, man. I reached out to all my connections, and we got some incredible sponsors. Davis Gates and Wires, our premier sponsor. We got the Manchester True Blue Customs. I mean, we got some incredible sponsors, man, and I'm pretty thankful for them.
Well, and when you're putting all UK players out there, your UK sponsors they're gonna want to follow that, for sure. So who come up with the name La Familia?
A good question. So when I got the opportunity, I said, man, what is our name going to be? And I didn't really think on it. It didn't take me much time to say, wow, we're family. This is what this is about. UK, the brotherhood we're family. And then, of course, Coach Cal was still a coach at the time. And I have a pretty good relationship with him. So I just gave him a shout. And I said, Coach, can we I know your tagline is La Familia. Could I use it? And he said, yeah, you can use it. I was thinking he might have said no, but, because that's his tagline.
Right.
And so it just kind of goes to what he thought about me is being able to give me full autonomy to use that.
Yeah.
And so when he decided to go in a different direction with his career, me and my team, we thought hard about it, man. Do we want to get rid of the name or do we want to keep it? Because we know, like, with a new coach coming in, La Familia was Cal's thing. I know not that people wanted to separate themselves from Coach Cal, but that's his thing, and we got a new voice coming in. But as we sat back and we thought about it, we said, well, La Familia, yes, that's Cal's tagline, but that's what we are. Like, we're brothers and we're a family.
Right.
And me being a part of this program the last 15 years, I mean, that's what I've felt since the time I've transferred here. It's like, from the person I first met the day I transferred to the players that played long before me to the guys that I connect with them that I didn't play with. It's like you put that jersey on. It's like it's really a brotherhood, and they treat you like the brother. So like we just decided to stick with the name.
You kind of said it perfectly there a minute ago when you were explaining it. You said, Cal went a different direction, but we've got a new voice, and you said we. It's always been we. It doesn't matter if it's the guys from 96 or before or to now. It's always been we. So La Familia has always been something that UK has pushed.
Exactly. Yes. From the time I was 4 years old, man, I wanted to play Kentucky because of what Kentucky stood for.
Right.
And wanted to put that Kentucky across my chest. I was able to make my dream come true. So for me, I've always thought about we. It's always been like a family atmosphere, family feel to the university and to that program. So I thought it was just great that we just keep the name and not change it and not go in a different direction with the name.
And I think it fits perfectly.
And then using La Familia probably helped you get
with the guys. Yeah, the guys. I mean, it never been on our teams, of course, played with Coach Cal.
Sure.
But not one person has said that, it's just going to feel different because he's not here. No, everybody's like, man, listen, if anything, let's go win. We play for Cal. Let's go win this for him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it's been awesome, and the guys have been great. I've built like special relationships with these guys.
Yeah.
Just by recruiting them. I mean, I've been doing this since November. It's a long time, man. It's a lot of work.
So if you talk to Coach Cal, is he going to be in attendance? I know Bob Huggins kind of comes to the West Virginia games. I didn't know if Cal has time. I know he's building a team and all.
Yeah. I doubt he would make it. I don't know if he's ready to be back in Rupp Arena with the,
right.
I don't know I haven't talked to him about his feelings in that regard, but would I love to see him here? Oh my God, it would be tremendous and incredible. And no telling, he's the type of person that he is that I know. That's something that he probably would do is pop up to support his guys because that's what he do. That's what he's always shown us. So ain't no telling. I might reach out and text him and say, hey, Coach, we playing on the 19th. You know what I mean? Like, or when we get that final roster, I'm sure we'll have like a little diagram, a picture of all the guys, text it to him and say, Coach, we play on the 19th. And but knowing him, he's somebody that will pop up and show up because he's always what he's always showed me. It's always bigger than one person.
Right.
So have you told Coach Eulis like, hey, I got my sneakers ready, and if you need a guy, tag me in.
No, I can't. I wish, man. Yeah. A lot of people don't know. My senior year, I had back surgery.
Right.
And Coach didn't announce it to the public. He did a good job of kind of protecting players. I had back surgery right before season started. So a lot of fans are always wondering why I wasn't getting in the games. I couldn't play. And I had no more eligibility left, so I had to kind of make that transition right after I graduated. But yeah, I couldn't play my senior. I had back surgery.
Right.
Not a lot of people know that.
A little bit different 15 years ago. Now you get 18 years worth of eligibility. COVID year, a pre-COVID year, COVID years.
Man. And I was even talking to somebody about this the other day. I said when I transferred, I had to sit out a whole year.
Yeah.
So I couldn't experience like that year with Brandon Knight and T. Jones and Daron Lamb when they were freshmen. I couldn't go on the road with those guys. I had to practice, and I could only go to home games.
Yeah.
Like now, I could have transferred and been eligible right away, and I could have helped that team too.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, just the access that the players have now when they're able to transfer. You didn't have that back then.
Yeah.
It's a whole different dynamic.
Whole different game.
Well, so and you kind of get to experience that, and you're like, the NIL deals and all this. So the recruiting, and has that made you like maybe I might want to do this kind of work for a career?
Not really. When I graduated, I always told myself, man, I'm gonna put everything I got into basketball, everything, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, into the game, and I did. And for me, I think it paid off for me because I was able to live my dream. It didn't happen right away. Go to Mississippi State and be able to transfer and like come back home and play and then win a national championship.
Right.
1 in 15 years. So like I feel like I don't owe myself anything, or God or this universe owes me nothing when it comes to basketball.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be somebody who got stuck in that. I wanted to move on, and mentally I was able to do that. But I love the game of basketball, and I love helping. I love not coaching but teaching. So I have people reach out to me all the time because I was a point guard. I had pretty high IQ, and so I really understand and know the game. So I like mentor a lot of young athletes in that way. I work with NBA players as well, but as far as coaching, nah, I don't think I ever want to dive into that. But I'm getting my fix with this.
Right.
We have our incredible coaching staff I put together, and just being able to sit on the calls with them and like listen to X and O's and talk about the game plans, like, and I kind of get to chime in. So
Right.
I get my fix in other ways.
So, what kind of are we practicing? Like we've been practicing.
Yeah. So the guys actually get in town next week.
Okay.
So all the guys will be here next Friday. So we have I put together a charity game. So I put together a weekend called, and I was telling you on the way in, called Champions Weekend. And speaking of what I was just talking about, I'm really big on athlete transition. Because that's probably one of the toughest things that people have to do in this lifetime is when you've been something for 24, 23 years, you've been basketball, it's been your life. It's hard to like really go be a normal person.
Right.
Fill out a resume, go to a job every single day and just be normal. Especially when you're in the UK, having to try to make that transition to be a normal person. It's really tough. And so I've been really like, I've been somebody who has done it successfully. I like giving back and helping younger athletes like start thinking about that transition early. So we put together a weekend called Champions Weekend where I want to bridge the gap between the community, business people, and athletes. And I want the athletes to be able to connect with the business people, make those connections, share ideas, connect in a different way that they've ever connected. So it's called Champions Weekend. Friday we have if you guys are available, come up. Friday we have a networking event at Harper Hall next Friday, Harper Hall from 5:30 to 8. Saturday morning, we got a free basketball camp for kids. It's totally free. Some of the guys from La Familia be in town. Some of the guys that are not on La Familia's team will be a part of this. And
Adam's already thinking.
I'm just waiting on the age range. That's all.
Yeah. So.
I got a 6 and a 5-year-old boy.
Yeah. So 6 to 12. But if your 5-year-old if he can get out there and play, just let me know.
He's tough as nails. So
yeah. So I mean, we got open spots, man. I think we limited to 200 kids. Chick-fil-A is gonna feed them. We're gonna give away free backpacks. So it'll be next Saturday at Sports Center from 9 to 12.
Okay.
So then that night we got a charity game. From 6 to 8 at Tate Creek High School, and then I helped Willie Cauley-Stein put on next Sunday. There is a golf scramble. Willie loves to play golf. And so in recruiting him, he's like, man, I want to get back to Lexington. I want to play golf with some people. And said, how about we do a golf scramble for you? He said, oh man, I'm game for that. So we got a golf scramble next Sunday, tee off at 8:30 at the University Club.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Willie is a golfer.
Yeah.
What's it take to fit somebody 7'1" for clubs? I think that's in my mind right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting there, I was like, is there anything that Willie Cauley-Stein can't do?
Nah, he's a freak, man. He's a story. When I first met Willie, his freshman year, I was a senior. I was coming out of the dorm, and here's this 7-foot kid skateboarding in front of the dorm. I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, like he was skateboarding, man, and he was doing tricks. And I'm like, man, this dude is crazy. Then just kind of see him get on the floor and be as athletic and mobile and fast and be able to run the floor like he did. Like, Willie was a freak of nature. Man, I'm so excited to have him on this team.
So we've talked a lot about your, what went into recruiting players and, picking. I mean, obviously you wanted specific players for specific reasons. How soon did you all zero in on Tyler Eulis being your head coach?
It was an interesting process because when Coach went in a different direction, I kind of figured Tyler would follow him. And so I always wanted Tyler. Like when I first got the job, I was like, I want Tyler to be my coach. But I had to monitor the situation because he was in season when I got the job. It was just starting the season, really, in November. And so I'm like, man, so he and I connected several times, and I kind of hinted at it. And so when Coach went to Arkansas, I tapped in with Tyler, and I'm Tyler, what you gonna do? And he didn't know. But whatever decision that he was going to make, he wasn't going to be able to go to after the summertime. So I'm like, wow, you're still going to be here. I think it works. You're not like an active Arkansas coach coming back to coach the guys, so he's actively right now not signed anywhere. He might go to Arkansas after the summer's over, but man, that dude is to be one of the, best point guards that has played here in the last so many years, man, to be able to work with him on a daily basis, talk about X and O's and talk about players, recruiting, and I kind of get in my little fix every now and then, bro. How is it like you know, you play with Jamal Murray. How was it? You know, couldn't have a better coach. And then we also have, you know, Sean Woods, Darius Miller, John Hood. So Kentucky royalty on the staff, man.
Well, I was going to say, I was looking at the coach staff. They could beat a lot of probably teams.
Yeah, well, we got an incredible staff, man. It's literally Kentucky royalty.
So you mentioned a while ago, like when you got the job. So you're actually employed by TBT?
So
is that how that is, or
it's a job.
Yeah.
But so it's like we're contracted.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I had to like file out my own LLC and everything. So
okay.
But we're just like contracted through TBT. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But everybody that I've hired, man, as far as my marketing lady, my assistant general manager, Sam Malone, who's also a national champion, like this is a full-time job, and everybody has approached it that way. Nobody has slacked off. Our marketing has been great. It's been awesome, man. But literally, it's been a full-time job.
And is this continue on to a year-to-year thing? As long as you want to do it anyway?
Yep. As long as I want to do it, yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, the TBT seems like it continues to grow each year.
Yeah.
And so there is a Lexington region. There'll be 8 teams in that region. But you said there's 64 teams in this tournament, correct?
Yep. There's Louisville has a region.
Okay.
So, you know, Louisville was in the tournament last year, and they had a pretty good, you know, couple games that they played that they couldn't. I mean, Louisville was pretty good last year. So how it's constructed this year is between the Lexington region and the Louisville region, whichever region has the most fans attend will get that 4th game. So if we outpace Louisville in fan attendance, we could play Louisville and then it'd be in Rupp Arena. And I'm telling you right now, that'd be sold out.
Oh, yeah.
But if Louisville outpaces us in fan attendance, then we would have to go to Louisville to play them.
So, and like you just said, so all of these games in the Lexington region are going to be in Rupp Arena. And how do you go about getting, you know, tickets for that and stuff like that? Just go to
Ticketmaster, or you can go to TBT's website and they would direct you to Ticketmaster. And so that's how you get the tickets.
And it starts on the 19th?
Our first game is the 19th at 8 p.m. Fox Sports.
Wow.
But as I don't know if y'all saw Coach Pope, man, we got a hashtag out there, Pack Her Up. So we want to break the record. The record is 7,500 around, give or take. I think Wichita State a couple years ago set that attendance record at 7,500.
Gotcha.
And we're hoping to break that.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let's take a moment here and do a real quick commercial. We'll be right back. Talk more basketball.
The team at Community Trust Bank believes in making financial dreams come true. Just like a fairy godmother, they work tirelessly to ensure their clients have the security and support they need, while also helping them create a magical future. With a touch of personalized service and a sprinkle of expertise, they guide their clients towards their goals, whether big or small. At Community Trust Bank, they are not just about managing money, they are about nurturing dreams and building a prosperous future for all who walk through the door. Join their family and let them make your financial wishes come true. They are your friend in banking. Member FDIC. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by CRC Roofing and Renovations. CRC sprung into life in the year 2000 thanks to Rusty Cerniglia's bold leap into entrepreneurship. Juggling a full-time job with his small gutter venture, he watched it blossom into CRC Renovations. Fast forward to today, CRC boasts a dream team ready to dazzle both homeowners and businesses alike with their top-notch services. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Jacob's Auto Body Repair and Paint Shop is the ultimate pit stop for all your car needs. With a combined experience older than your grandma's secret cake recipe, we're here to fix you up. Drop us a line at 859-274-7425 for a free quote and let us get those wheels rolling. Our yearly growth is like a high-speed chase fueled by the love and trust of Mount Sterling and beyond. It's all hugs and high fives to our amazing crew of customers for keeping our engines revving with success. Special thanks to Brent Wehunt, Kentucky Farm Bureau in Frenchburg, the sponsor of our Athlete of the Month program in Menifee County.
All right, thanks for coming back with us here. If you didn't know, we're with Twanny Beckham, former UK player. We're talking about the TBT tournament, the La Familia team. He has assembled a all UK team, and just before break there, you mentioned that Coach Pope has gotten involved and got the hashtag Pack Her Up going on out there. So obviously we've got buy-in from the new coach.
Yes, sir.
La Familia is as blue as it gets when it comes to Coach Pope. I mean, he has electrified Lexington, with his reappearance as the new coach. Obviously, you've had a chance to talk to him.
Yes, sir.
You said something about during the break there, you've got a scrimmage coming up with the UK players. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so July 17th, so it'll be 2 days before our actual game. We're going to scrimmage the current team. It'll be in Rupp Arena, be closed to the public, but I think what they're doing is this is going to be awesome. Is they're kind of rounding up all former UK players that I guess are in town or can make it, and we're going to have like a reception a few hours before, and then we're going to play. And all the former guys are going to get to watch, La Familia play Coach Pope's team, play the current team. I think that's going to be awesome.
The new incoming UK players, they are going to geek out over that, right? I mean, playing some of the history of UK there, and not to mention being watched by the others that are around. I think that'll be fantastic. That would be fun to watch.
It works two ways. Also, I mean, it gives you all somebody to play before before you go into tournament play, but it also gives this new group that I don't very few of them, if any of them, have been at UK before. So it gives them an understanding of, hey, guys, coach is going to be like, this is what this is all about.
This is what this is about. Yeah.
Right.
And
Travis Perry and Noah Trent will be eating this.
They're going to know these guys. Yeah.
They'll know all about it.
They'll know all these guys.
Trent,
Yeah.
no, I apologize. I said it backwards.
Noah Trent.
Noah Trent.
Whatever. So you got to ask in November to be a general manager. You had to come in with some sort of expectation of what the job entailed.
Uh-huh.
What's been the biggest challenge you've encountered since you've taken the job?
That's a good question. The biggest challenge I've encountered since taking the job, I'll say just the time commitment. I mean, it's not nothing you can do part time. You have to recruit. You have to stay connected to guys. You have to book the travel. You have to book interviews. You have to book marketing. And so it's a ton of communication. It's a lot of time. And guys are all across the world. And guys on different time zones. And guys might need you. They may have a question. Guys got to talk to the agent, so you got to be able to answer the question when they ask you. I mean, you got to keep your head on the swivel at all times. So I think that's been the most challenging thing. But it's fun because I'm I'm talking to UK royalty.
Right.
These guys are greats. These guys are people that I looked up to. People that I wish I was in their shoes when I was playing. Guys, I mean, we got an announcement tomorrow of a player who made some incredible big time shots while he was here. And I think I said it in our press conference, and I think in the comments people kind of knew who I was talking about.
Does he happen to have a twin?
But I didn't
Skipped right over that.
anyway. Yeah, but I was gone when they got here. When those guys got here, so I didn't have a relationship. But of course, I came back to games and, hey, what's up? How you doing? But now it's we're building a relationship.
Yeah.
And so somebody like him getting announced tomorrow is really, really big thing. And I'm looking forward to it.
But he's like, I don't really know the guy's family. He may or may not have twins. I don't know.
The funny thing about it is you talk about how the recruiting and the connections and all that has been the hard part of this. And then, just a little bit ago, you're just like, I don't really know that I want to do the coaching thing. And it's like, coaching now, that is the whole thing about coaching. It's just constant recruiting. Players to come in, players to stay, players to transfer.
Now, if I could coach on the staff and that be my job solely,
yeah,
I think I would kill it.
Yeah.
Because I'm really good at the relationship building part of it.
Yeah.
Understanding where, I come from the same background a lot of these guys come from. So helping guys mentally see the opportunity, and not just putting money first, see the full grasp of things. Telling these guys, listen, you come back to Lexington, you're setting yourself up for it after basketball. You're still playing now, but you have to be able to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing different events around town. You're going to make some connections you probably don't have or didn't have at the time. and use that to your ability. But also too, it's got to be both. Got to go both ways. Be genuine with people, connect with people. Really take a liking into people. You know what I mean? Like right now, like I'm like telling these guys, like, man, when you come back, it's like the love that you're gonna get is. I mean, y'all ain't been back in 19 years.
Yeah.
So it's time to come back. You get it. This is why we got the events the weekend before. So I was able to put the things together to help these guys get back in the community, do some free charitable work. So it's a bigger picture than just really playing the TBT games.
You talked about trying to get the mental aspect just now, but I wanted to bring your books up that you've wrote.
Yes, sir.
Pressure is your newest one.
It's my latest one. Yes.
Yeah, and then before that, you wrote Full Court Press.
Yes, sir. I'm 6 books in now.
And then you had a children's book in there also. Okay.
A couple. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that kind of what those books entail?
Mm-hmm.
What you were just talking about?
Yes, sir. Pressure was probably one of my favorites, but Full Court Press is the book that changed my life. When I had surgery, I didn't have anything to do but sit in the dorm.
Yeah.
And then go to practice and go to class. Of course, I couldn't travel, couldn't play, couldn't practice, couldn't really do anything, man. My physical abilities were taken away from me, and so I went through a lot of deep depression, trying to think about like what am I gonna do when I get up playing. So it was really tough, man. And sometimes I've learned throughout the years that I'm not the only one that's gone through that. Sometimes people can't get out of that,
right? And
so I was able to get out of it by writing. And so I put everything I had been through into a book. And the first time I got my book, I felt it. I was like, man, this is different. And I'll never forget. I went to speak to a church group. There was 5 people, literally 5 people at a church group, and I didn't know how to prepare for a speech. I didn't know like how to start, how to close, or I just went with a book and a vision that I'm gonna be one of the best speakers in the world. And I just told my story. I don't even know if I told it from front to end right. I just told it.
Yeah.
And the 5 guys that I spoke to, they were in tears. And I said, wow, I think I got something here. And so I'll go from that to speaking to 5 people to now, like I'm traveling across the country, sharing my story in front of huge audiences.
So you wrote Full Court Press when
I was in college.
The last year we were in college. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And nobody knew. I would go to practice. I would go to class, post to class.
Yeah.
Go to practice, and after practice, I would go in my dorm, and like nobody knew what I was dealing with.
Yeah.
Because if you see me, I'm the same person every day. Like if you see me from today, or if you bump into me at Kroger's 2 years from now, I'm gonna have a smile on my face. I'm gonna be the same person. I'm gonna greet you with total respect.
Yeah.
And so I've always been this way. I just think I was born with this type of mentality, type of spirit. And so I would be at practice, on sideline, really hurting inside, but my teammates didn't know that, because I'm smiling, I'm like cheering guys on, but I was like, oh my God, this just sucks. But I would go in my dorm and I would just write. And then I asked Coach Kyle again, Coach, can you write the foreword to my book? He didn't hesitate. Right. Yes, sir, I got you. Well, the foreword, I think I had the foreword back in like 2 days. Wow. Like he wrote it back in it was that fast. And then the rest is history.
So what is the difference between Full Court Press and Pressure?
So Full Court Press was about my time in Kentucky.
Okay.
I kind of went deep into practice, went deep into, we had the year we won a championship, it was a lockout year, so LeBron James and Kevin Durant, all of those guys came down, and we got to play against those guys. I talked about practice. I talked about what it took to get there. I talked about playing the UK being my dream. And so I was more so like I wanted to give people like a behind the scenes look at being a UK basketball player, and then also too of what it took to be a UK basketball player. It took a lot of work, a lot of dedication and sacrifice. And then Pressure, I released when I turned 30, and it was a great book for me because I had wrote the book from a place I had fully healed.
Okay.
I had healed from that transition. I healed from the depression. I healed from trying to figure out who Twanny Beckham was going to be outside of being a basketball player. And so I talked about just so many different dynamics and ways I was able to heal through my relationships with certain people and through mentally on how I view life. And I touch on so many different areas of healing. And people that's read that book have said, oh my God, this is one of the best books I've ever. I mean, people love that book.
So where can we get your books?
TwannyBeckham.com, Amazon.com, and they're everywhere. Barnes and Nobles.
So I mean, you really are like a Renaissance man. Like you're an author, you're a general manager. We talk about Willie being able to do all that stuff. I mean, there's not much that you can't do.
Yeah, people say it all the time. They be like, man, how do you? I mean, I also own my own publishing company, so we help other people write books. I helped my mom before she passed away, become an author. My mom had, I think at the time, I forgot what it was, but it was getting close to that time. She was battling lung cancer, and I said, Mom, let's write a book. My mom was she had this same personality I got. Yeah. My mom was very high spirited, but at that time she didn't really want to talk much. She was just always in a lot of pain. And I said, Mom, I want to sit next to your bed and just talk to you every day. And I'm gonna record it, and we're gonna put out a book. And so by doing that, man, it helped her fight, because she felt that power of telling her story. The way she never told it before. I learned a lot of things about her that I didn't know. About raising us, about some things she went through as an adult, and just about being a single mother, what that was like. And so I learned I told this story at the funeral. I said, man, I looked down at my mom, because I did the eulogy for my mother. And I said, I probably know more about this woman in the last year than I did the first 34 years or 33 years, because of writing the book with her. Right. And so she put the book out, man. It's called Superwoman. Right. And she was able to get out of the hospital, get back active. We went on a book tour. My mom was somebody that she was really nervous about talking in front of the camera. We was doing news interviews. I mean, it was amazing. So I have our own publishing company where we help people write books as well.
Okay, awesome. So you touched on your time. Obviously, everybody knows that you were at UK for several years. Wins are great. Championships are great. What's maybe your most cherished memories or moments that you had from your playing days at Kentucky?
Winning a championship. Literally walking back into the hotel in New Orleans and seeing my mom, my brothers, and our entire fan base packed into the hotel and everybody cheering. That was crazy. And it's you don't think it's, you grew up watching the NCAA tournament, but you never think that could be you.
Right. It's another level of excitement.
Yes, man. It was a blessing, man. It was I went from kind of wrestling with myself why I wasn't getting more playing time, because I felt like I deserved it, because I was a really good, player practice, to understanding that UK basketball was so much bigger than me, and accepting my role. And I think, as Coach Cal said all the time, a lot of us really that was on that bench that year helped us win a championship, because everybody accepted their role. I was a guy that, I was a Division I player myself. I was starting point guard in the SEC before I came here.
Right.
To go from that to not playing at all was tough. But then you see, oh my God, I'm teaming with Anthony Davis and Terrence Jones, and these guys are about to go on and be NBA players or Hall of Famers. How can I contribute to that? Yeah. So I think learning to love the process through that. And now a lot of guys love, Anthony Davis, we're like my best friend. A lot of guys love me because they just see how hard I worked every day. I didn't complain. And I help those guys get better. You all are practicing against a Division I player that should be playing every day. And it was multiple of us on the bench.
Right. I mean, guys that would play at a lot of
schools were on the bench. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up here with Twanny, let's take our last commercial break and we'll come back and wrap up.
Special thanks to KimSoft, our title sponsor of the From Corner to Corner Athlete of the Week in Montgomery County. KimSoft, eco-friendly industrial services, is your go-to squad for all things squeaky clean in the commercial and industrial world. Based in the heart of Mount Sterling, they are your friendly cleaning wizards, serving up sparkling magic in areas like Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Huntington, and beyond. Let's turn that grime into shine. Feeling jittery about diving into the world of property? Fret not. Let Kentucky Realty Group help. Whether you're gearing up to buy, sell, or just need some guidance, let their expert team help sprinkle in some magic on your experience. From cozy condos to grand mansions, they've got your back. Seeking a fixer-upper, a slice of luxury, maybe a peaceful rural retreat, they've got the keys to all those kingdoms. Dive into their treasure trove of listings and let the property adventure begin. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by
Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness.
Beckham.
It's Mr. Beckham to you.
I put the G in on it. It's Mr. Beckham.
So, as we are starting to wrap up here, you talked about, you talked about your marketing, you talked about, but the success of this first year is going to be as big a recruiting marketing tool as you can have.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. And that's why I've let the guys know that it's a huge year. Year one is big, man. To come in and win games and, electrify this crowd and this fan base and, we can make a run that gets at least the Final Four, man. That would be huge. So next year, like you say, man, when I reach out to guys to run it back, guys are like, man, let's get it. Let's get it done.
Right.
So
you may even have somebody going to be like, I want to be in on that next year.
I recruited a guy this year that I thought I had that had he committed, I'd have been calling NBA teams, hey, I need to be GM.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think y'all pretty much know what I'm talking about. I mean, he was in that first recruiting class.
Well, I was going to ask.
I would say, John Wall.
That's who I was.
John Wall.
There's a guy with a particular dance move.
Yeah, John Wall. He was interested. He had to go back and talk to his team, and I was praying. I was like, come on, John. John Wall and Eric Bledsoe being back in the backcourt, I thought that would have been crazy. But John said he had some obligations this summer he had to take care of. But I think he might come to the games. I'm not sure about his schedule, but man, I was this close. He told me I'm interested. I said, oh my God.
You're kind of like, you better not show up to every game because that meant your obligations.
And I think he's the perfect example. You talk about the brotherhood. You talk about La Familia. I mean, he was one of the first guys that Coach Pope was able to interact with on the AAU circuit or whatever. And he said, I'm a Coach Cal guy. I love Coach Cal, but I bleed Kentucky blue.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the coach may change. The cast of players may change, but at the end of the day, it's still Kentucky. We talked about during the break that a lot of times we don't have players that play for the name on the front no more. It's all about the name on the back. And I feel like at Kentucky, especially, listen to you talk, it's a lot about what's on the front.
Absolutely. And I think somebody like John Wall, him, just giving Pope that reassurance, that his support is like, it don't matter who the coach is. But it's like, we look at John as a leader. He was a part of that first class.
Yeah.
And so John saying that, man, everybody was like, man, you see what John said?
Right.
So John Wall can say that, then why can't everybody else say that?
And not everybody felt that same way, right? When a lot of people felt like that the Kentucky fans turned on Coach Cal and pushed him out and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be good for both parties. I think Cal needed a fresh start. I think Kentucky needed a fresh start. And hopefully both are successful. Hopefully UK wins more than
and they both are still going to have. I mean, obviously Kentucky fans are going to have admiration for their program, but Cal is always going to have an admiration for. I mean, he wanted this job bad.
Yeah.
So,
and when he came, he was clearly the right guy for the job.
Yeah.
Much like it sounds like the guy that reached out to you. You were the right man for the
absolutely.
job.
Right.
I have no doubt after listening to you that you 100% were the right guy for the job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You talked about Sam Malone. Why did you decide to bring Sam on with you?
It's a good question, man. So Sam is I love Sam, man. And so the guys on the bench, we all have our own special bond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got the starters, but you got the guys on the bench who, we do everything together. We're sitting on the bench, we talking the whole 40 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Sam and I have always had a great relationship. He's super smart. I tell him all the time, he's going to be the next, what's the guy that owns the Dallas Mavericks? I think he's
Mark Cuban.
I tell Sam all the time, he's going to be the next Mark Cuban because he's like right now involved in tech and all type of other different things. I mean, very, very smart businessman. And so we connected, and immediately he was like, how can I help you? I don't want nothing in return.
Right.
said, okay, cool. And then as we continue to talk, and he was like bringing value to the conversation about TBT.
Yeah.
And it just made sense to put him in that role. And Sam has done a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I'm glad he's been on board.
So, I mean, it sounds like you've got a good response from the guys you've reached out to, even the guys that you weren't able to bring on.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to make you feel good.
Feels great, yes.
And I mean, obviously, we want to win as many games as we can.
Yes.
I mean, we want to be the one to take home the prize.
I really believe, man. Like if we win our 4 games up arena, I think in Philly it'll be packed UK.
Yeah.
So I really think fans. I think once the fan base really grasp what this is and see the first game is going to be national TV. I think we're going to have an awesome crowd at Rupp, but there will be a bit of a couple fans that will watch on TV because they just don't know what it is.
Right.
And I think once we win that first game, I think the second game will be more packed. I think the third game will be more packed. And then now I think we will have a following if we go to Philly. I think we will have people travel to support us.
He said prize. I mean, this isn't just going to play for a trophy and being like, hey, the Kentucky alone came and took home the national championship or the TBT championship. It's not just a prize.
$1 million.
It's $1 million. That the team gets to split whatever way. Yeah. So I mean,
most GMs, you have the autonomy to do whatever you want with the money. For me, I set that standard right when I got the job. I said everything's gonna be fair. When I'm recruiting guys, I'm not gonna tell, you're getting X amount of more percentage of. I don't want to work my operation like that. I want guys to all feel wanted. I want all guys to feel included. And I want all guys to feel like they have an equal part in this.
Yeah.
So if we win $1 million, it will be divvied up equally amongst everybody.
Right.
So everybody feels like, they're entitled to their equal share. But it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be easy.
No.
And but if you would ask me, and I know the guys are relishing at the fact that they can win $1 million, but if you'd ask me, the championship would be much sweeter.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I hope they ring the banner and Rupp.
So it for a GM
like I'm trying to get like the Lakers now. We need the NCAA tournament banner.
Well, for a GM aspect of it, you're like, look, the money would be great. The championship helps you out as much as anything because it can continue to grow the team year to year to year to year. And it's not like the TBT's going away. I mean, it's been around for
several years now.
Yeah, several years.
Since 2014 or 15.
Yeah, so we're pushing 10 years now.
Yeah. And I want to be able to take an opportunity like this and say, man, if we win a championship, I told you.
Yeah, I was the GM of the championship.
NBA team, what's going on?
That's right.
And NBA team, what's going on?
You talked about the Louisville team. I looked at their roster. Some of those dudes are going to be out there on walkers. Russ Smith has to be 45.
But Russ can still play, though.
I know he can. He still can play.
Yeah, right.
And I hope he's not hearing me because he's going to show.
Yeah, Russ, Payne, those guys can still play. And they're going to be super competitive.
And if there's a matchup against La Familia, it's not going to say La Familia. It's going to say Kentucky.
It's going to say Kentucky.
It's not going to say Louisville. It's going to say Louisville.
And it's going to be on.
Yeah.
Yeah, GM from GM to player from trainer to trainer to person is on.
Well, and the Ville has one of Mount Sterling's own on their team. That's where Omar Pruitt plays for the second year in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We need to get that fixed quick.
I mean, Omar's mom only played at Kentucky.
Right.
What are you doing, Omar?
We'll get him your number. We'll get his number to you.
Yes, sir.
So, as we get ready to wrap up, thanks for coming and spending an hour with us tonight.
Absolutely.
We wish you guys nothing but the best luck. Obviously, we'll all be rooting for you.
Thank you.
But the last question I got before we wrap up here is the uniform say La Familia, or are we wearing UK blue?
La Familia.
Yeah.
I mean, they are UK blue.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Uniforms are sick. They're sick, and they got our sponsors logos on them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So just to recap, you can get tickets at Ticketmaster.
Yes.
At the TBT website.
And if you're interested in coming to the charity game or the networking event, like these guys are going to be around at those events. You can go to betterlifestyleevents.com, which is also a company that I own. Betterlifestyleevents.com. Get your tickets, get your TBT tickets, and let's pack up.
Absolutely.
Hashtag.
Let's not skip over the fact. TwannyBeckham.com. You can get his books there.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
A really good read.
Thank you.
And you can get in touch with him if anybody needed to do some.
It's a speaking engagement,
right? It's speaking engagement and whatnot. They can get to you.
My email's on my website. info@twannybeckham.com.
We want to push your stuff too.
I travel wherever to speak. I can speak to elementary kids. I can speak to corporate offices. I can speak to high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, adults, team environment, athletic environments. I got it all.
Awesome. Thanks again, Twanny, so much.
Question real quick.
I was just going to say, Sean said earlier that we talked to Daniel Orton before. So kind of the same question I asked him is, if there is a high school athlete trying to be a D1 player, his answer to the question was work. Would you have a different answer to that question? What would you give a high school freshman right now if they want to be a D1 player? What advice would you give them to make it?
First, that's a great question. I'll first ask them, what is your discipline like? It takes a very strict person and disciplined person to be able to make it at this level. When you get to college, you're working, I'm sure Daniel knows this, you're waking up at 6, practice, workout, training, class at 8, 3 classes. You got to get your tutoring, get your schoolwork done, training, take care of your body, practice, take care of your body, eating, practice, take care of your body, practice. Literally, you have, for those guys that want to be great, you got some guys that want to be average and they're partying and they're going out, they're not eating healthy. So I would always challenge a younger person is, I would always ask them, like, what is your discipline like? Like, what is your daily routine? Because right now, if your daily routine's all over the place, you have no chance in hell. And if it's all over the place, let's sit down and talk about how we can get that fixed. But I would think, you got to work hard, but it's what you do off the court. That you can go and put in all the work in the world, but you going home and you eating bad, you staying up all night, not getting rest, not taking care of your body, not studying because you need your grades. You're not gonna make it. It's gonna be extremely tough for you to make it, and it only follows you through when you leave high school to college, or if you're gonna play afterwards. And these college coaches, they know, they understand, they do their homework. They know if you somebody that ain't gonna take practice serious, or after practice you're involved in things you don't need to be involved in, drinking, smoking, staying up too late, messing with girls, and not doing your work, not showing up to class on time. Like, all of that's a part of being disciplined. And so I would challenge a kid, like, what is your discipline, day-to-day routine? And if you don't have a routine, let's help get that routine fixed.
Great. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they were reading off the same script. Right? You two were there. That is almost word for word.
Yeah, because they played for Cal, so they played college sports. Period. So they know.
It's hard.
It's a grind.
It's hard. That's why I said I put everything I could into 24 years of it. And once you get out of it, you're like, man, I finally got time to breathe.
Right. Yeah.
You got time to breathe. I got time to do some other things. You don't have time to do anything else while you playing college ball.
Awesome. Well, Twanny, again, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. Awesome. Again, let's get out there. Let's pack her up. Let's support La Familia. And hang tight. We're going to do some commercials right now, and then we'll be back with Bath County football here in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness.
Twanny, what are you listening to?
I'm listening to Mount Sterling's #1 podcast that drops on Saturdays at 3 a.m. The From Corner to Corner podcast is recorded right here in the Community Trust Bank Studios, where we bring you Kim Sauce, Athlete of the Week, Tutu Sweet Treats, Dog of the Week, and Brett Weehunt's Community Farm Bureau, Muncy County's Athlete of the Month. The From Corner to Corner podcast is brought to you by CRC Roofing and Renovations, Jacobs Auto Body, and Kentucky Realty Group. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, and any of your favorite podcast platforms. And always remember, stay safe, friends.
The team at Community Trust Bank believes in making financial dreams come true. Just like a fairy godmother, they work tirelessly to ensure their clients have the security and support they need, while also helping them create a magical future. With a touch of personalized service and a sprinkle of expertise, they guide their clients towards their goals, whether big or small. At Community Trust Bank, they are not just about managing money, they are about nurturing dreams and building a prosperous future for all who walk through the door. Join their family and let them make your financial wishes come true. They are your friend in banking. Member FDIC. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by CRC Roofing and Renovations. CRC sprung into life in the year 2000 thanks to Rusty Cerniglia's bold leap into entrepreneurship. Juggling a full-time job with his small gutter venture, he watched it blossom into CRC Renovations. Fast forward to today, CRC boasts a dream team ready to dazzle both homeowners and businesses alike with their top-notch services. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Jacobs Auto Body Repair and Paint Shop is the ultimate pit stop for all your car needs. With a combined experience older than your grandma's secret cake recipe, we're here to fix you up. Drop us a line at 859-274-7425 for a free quote and let us get those wheels rolling. Our yearly growth is like a high-speed chase fueled by the love and trust of Mount Sterling and beyond. It's all hugs and high fives to our amazing crew of customers for keeping our engines revving with success. Special thanks to Brent Weehunt, Kentucky Farm Bureau in Frenchburg, the sponsor of our Athlete of the Month program in Menifee County. Special thanks to Kim Soft, our title sponsor of the From Corner to Corner Athlete of the Week in Montgomery County. Kim Soft, eco-friendly industrial services, is your go-to squad for all things squeaky clean in the commercial and industrial world. Based in the heart of Mount Sterling, they are your friendly cleaning wizards, serving up sparkling magic in areas like Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Huntington, and beyond. Let's turn that grime into shine. Feeling jittery about diving into the world of property? Fret not. Let Kentucky Realty Group help. Whether you're gearing up to buy, sell, or just need some guidance, let their expert team help sprinkle in some magic on your experience. From cozy condos to grand mansions, they've got your back. Seeking a fixer-upper, a slice of luxury, maybe a peaceful rural retreat, they've got the keys to all those kingdoms. Dive into their treasure trove of listings and let the property adventure begin. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness.
Yo, Great show.
And we are back, and we are joined now by Brandon Brewer and Dan Gooch, our Bath County football coaches. Thanks, guys, for hanging out for a few minutes there while we was wrapping up.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You are the second group of Bath County coaches we've had the opportunity. Collier just keeps taking all of the spots. I mean, he wouldn't let anybody else come play with us. So we finally had to say, no, you can't come anymore. We got to have somebody else.
Mark Collier's a tough act to follow. I don't know if
He's a charmer. Charismatic guy.
He definitely is.
We'll go with Charmer. Coach, let's start. Why Bath County? What was the interest in Bath County?
Yeah. Wanted to get back home. You know, we familiar with this area. I'd worked 8 years there in Montgomery County with Coach Gooch. Originally from Powell. Kind of stepped out on a limb 6 years ago, and went down to Prestonsburg, and just, you know, we did good things down there, laid a good foundation. Had a team a couple years ago, won 8 games. We had a team this year that was 35 kids on it and 22 freshmen and sophomores, and found a way to win. We were 5 and 6, and left a good group of kids back. Left a good group of kids behind. Had a really good freshman class, and they're bringing in a really good. This year it'll be next year sophomores, and they're bringing in a really good freshman class. And biggest thing, wanting to get back home. I feel like this is home to me, and you never really know until you kind of test the waters, and that was just something that my mother still lives in Stanton, and my mother-in-law lives there. And we just, really felt the need to get back this way. But we worked really hard down there and left behind, I feel like, a quality program. And I think Coach Hager will, be able to step in there and, do a good job this year with it.
So this will be year 1 for Bath County then?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it'll be my first year there.
So what's the prospects of the team look like so far?
Well, we've had a really good winter. When we came in, took the job back in February, and I was looking for a spot close to Stanton there, and I took the job there. And when they offered, first call I made after they offered was Coach Gooch, and he had actually made several trips to Prestonsburg during my time there, a few practices, and made it to several games. And once I interviewed for the job and it was offered, I called him and asked him if he'd be interested, and it just kind of felt like an opportunity for us we'd spent 8 years at Montgomery together, and I was his assistant. And a lot of the things that I learned as a football coach was at Montgomery County when he was the head coach. Coming back to Prestonsburg, really, I think, it was good for him, and I felt like, it was good for me, and I was really it just seemed like good timing on both sides, and I'm very fortunate, I feel like, to have someone with his experience to step out, and he's been retired for, I think, about 6 years, and 9 years. He's kind of so it really going on 9. They really stepping out.
Reading into that, he's going, what the heck am I thinking?
I said 6 the other. Yeah, it makes it. So I'm really fortunate, to get a guy with his experience to come out and help me. And Bath County is a great community. I think I was talking to you out in the hallway about their facilities. I mean, for a small rural county school, and that's what I'm familiar with. I really my first head coaching experience came at Powell. I was there for 3 years as a head coach and 2 years as an assistant. And we had I feel like in 3 years there, we had some really good success. Took the team to and had a great group of kids. As make no mistake about it, a lot of good buy-in. And took them to, we went to a regional runner-up, 2 district championships in 3 years. Just felt I'm more comfortable with a single rural county school. You hear the cliche, you're the only show in town. There is something to that, and if you've never been out into another situation where it's not like that, you don't really understand it until you experience that. And it is a different setting, much different. So feel very comfortable with being in that. Montgomery's a lot the same way. You got a single county school.
There's a lot of benefits to that. If you're able to kind of navigate those waters the right way and get people on your side, I think it can be a huge benefit to you.
So
It's much easier.
looking at the two of you, weightlifting's probably not a big priority in your program. So what emphasis did you do all winter?
Well,
I mean, Coach Gooch is wasting away.
They're trying to lose. I'm 2 months.
well, whenever I accepted, Coach Gooch was there. We kind of met with the administration there, and they took us through some things, and Coach Gooch came in and they got him a position there back in February, and he came in and got everything up and going, and really, I mean, just a masterful job. I mean, we got the kids into the state powerlifting meet, a lot of excitement. We were able to have a spring football game. I'll let Coach Gooch talk to you. Our steak and bean bowl is something that is his, that's his trademark. I'd like to know, I don't know all the history on that, but, I'd like to hear kind of where that, how that started. And that was a really good springboard for our program, I feel like. And it wasn't easy. We had about 35 kids this spring and, 37 kids this spring, and had a scrimmage like that, and made the most of it. The kids have really sold out and had a lot of buy-in to make that happen. And that was just a really good, I feel like, foundation. When you first come in, you're trying to lay these, and that was something that really, to be able to get that started up was a huge first step. And right in the summer, we've had a really good summer right up to dead period. So we're looking forward to getting back with those guys and getting started.
Is that roughly the size of the team you're going to have, somewhere in that 30 to 40 range?
I would think so. Yeah, I feel like around 35.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
You got, just like you said, you got to lay the foundation. You got to come in and build your culture that you want to build.
I think that's been the hardest part, is kids understanding commitment.
Yeah.
Being there every day.
Yeah.
And you're going to have good days and bad days, but you still got to fight through it,
Just like what Twanny was talking about, discipline. They've got to understand discipline.
Toughness.
That's a big part of football.
Yeah, right.
And, you can't execute your assignment or execute a play if you're undisciplined. So each player has to be disciplined in his position. And that's one thing we've tried to teach as well. And it's a learning process. Like Coach Brewer said, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. But the kids, from what I've noticed, have been great. Their attitudes are great. Their work ethic is great. They just need they needed a change.
And that eventually that positive word will spread.
Yeah. Yes.
And can build your foundation. So like I said, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our support there, it's really been it's been really, I guess the best way I could put it is, we've surprising almost. I mean, we've had some really good support and things come out of our spring game and just kind of team building and bonding.
The people, the boosters, administration, everybody in that community wants football to win.
Yeah,
they want us to be successful, and that was kind of a breath of fresh air. Everybody's behind the program.
So you talk about being successful. Bath County, where are they in? All A school. So what is who's your district? Who's your region? Who do y'all usually play?
Yeah, so we're in 3A, and our district is currently East and West Carter, Fleming, Lewis, Russell.
Which is tough. That's a tough district.
Yeah, very competitive, and very competitive. And you've got, East Carter has kind of been the bell cow of that district the last couple of years.
And Bath County, this is 3A district. Yeah. I was kind of surprised they were 3A.
Yeah, they've sort of floated on that 2 and 3A. When I was at Prestonsburg, we were in the district with them for 4 years, and they were 2A. It was us, and it was Prestonsburg, West Carter, Shelby Valley, East Ridge.
That's some traveling.
County. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, and it was some competitive football.
Yeah.
So
Now, schedule-wise, are you going to have to play the schedule that was made, or did you get in time that you can make that schedule?
Well, this will be the second year of the, you do a 2-year contract, so we're in our second year of the contracts.
So it's basically just flipping locations.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so after this year, the only change in our district will be West Carter is going to go back down to 2A. But everybody else in our district will stay the same, so we'll lose them.
Now, the Carter School, are they still consolidated?
That's the talk. I think that's
down the road a little bit.
I can't really say, but I think it's a while. Yeah, it could be.
So we talked about steak and bean bowl. Everybody has a spring game. Why steak and bean?
Well, Mark Lefford and I, when I got to town, Mark Lefford's a year behind me. He was president of Whitaker Bank. So when we were at Morehead State, every spring we'd have a steak and bean bowl for its spring game. The winners would eat steak, and the losers would eat beans. And so the school I was at before was Apollo High School, a big basketball school. When I got to Montgomery County, it was pretty much a basketball school. Not saying that's just kind of, football was down.
Yeah.
So in the spring, I come in the spring, each spring to get excitement, get exposure for your program. You want to do something to get the kids out, make it fun, but at the same time, be able to teach fundamentals. So I got with Mark Lefford at Whitaker Bank, and they did a tremendous job of sponsoring a steak and bean bowl here. And so we started that in 2005, my first spring. I came in the spring, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And so I talked to Brandon about possibly doing that, and we knew number-wise it was going to be kind of rough, but we were able to do it. We probably should have cut down the minutes, and you wanted to do that. I said, well, we're going to have a running clock, but, kids aren't really in shape for a full game, but we did have a running clock. It was a competitive game. I think the kids enjoyed it. The community enjoyed it, and it's more of a community event. And Whitaker Bank did a great job of bringing in everybody in the school system, ROTC, people in the community, advertisement, and all that type thing.
So coming out of the spring game, your all's really first chance to see players in game type action. Were there any players that stood out to you all?
Yeah, the player that I really like is Nathan Tripp. He's a defensive lineman, offensive lineman. He's got a lot of ability. He's just raw. He's going to be a senior. He was at 295. I told him he needed to lose some weight. I saw him about a month ago. He said, Coach, I'm at 275. And he's really working hard. He's one I'm most impressed with. We really have a lot of sophomore kids that are going to be starting that got a lot of potential. And then our quarterback had a good quarterback. Got a kind of a little quarterback competition going on.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
always good. Yeah, always good to have that. Yeah, I think Parker Crouch to me was someone that had a really good spring game, and he's had a really good summer and winter.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kids like Parker. I mean, we could name a list of at least 15 kids that really worked hard that want to be there. We need about 15 more, but we got about 15, 16 kids that haven't missed a day of summer practice.
Yeah, we've had a really good summer. Yeah, for sure.
So, not obviously we're wanting to look forward with the program, but what's the program like? What was the status? I tried looking, I couldn't find last year's record. They've already updated it on there, but what kind of program was it prior to you taking over here?
Yeah, the last 2 years we've been 2-18 or something.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of room to improve.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I think that goes back to what when I coach with kids and when I work with kids, I kind of like having that sort of I don't know if you call it a chip on your shoulder, sort of like we're going, it's an outlaw kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Like we're going to do what people say we can't do. I guess if you think about like Waylon Jennings and some of those guys, they were told, this isn't mainstream. Well, I kind of feel like, the things that we are going to do and what we're capable of doing, you sort of have to have that, and I think when you're a single county school, you can get that type of buy-in, and maybe in terms of this isn't the only way, but it's our way of doing things. And so that's something I think that we're going to ring that bell a lot.
We've had a lot to teach too. I mean, there's, it's not only just fundamentals, but mentality, attitude, discipline. There's a lot of things that hasn't been taught, or maybe not taught the way we think they should. And there's a lot more that goes into the game than these kids really understand right now.
Right.
And that happens when you have a program that's been down for so long.
Right.
So it's natural that new coaching staff brings new excitement, right? So they're seeing things that they haven't seen before, maybe or possibly on the coaching side of it. Like you said, teaching the intensity and stuff like that. We know in basketball that Menifee County is the enemy. Who's the football rival? Round County.
Yeah, that's what that's what I've been from during the interview and from day one. It was Round County is I think that's week 4.
Yeah, it goes way back.
We know some history. Your wife went.
My wife went to Round County. She said, "Oh yeah, we used to hate Bath County."
And now she's wearing the Bath red.
Now, is that a home game or a road game for you guys?
I think we're over there this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to double check, but
We are. Yeah, I think we are.
And they've got a new stadium and some things going on over there. So,
and they got a good program. Kelly Ford's done a good job over there.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back and talk with Coach Brewer, Coach Gooch, and more Bath County football.
You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Jacob's Auto Body Repair and Paint Shop is the ultimate pit stop for all your car needs. With a combined experience older than your grandma's secret cake recipe, we're here to fix you up. Drop us a line at 859-274-7425 for a free quote and let us get those wheels rolling. Our yearly growth is like a high-speed chase fueled by the love and trust of Mount Sterling and beyond. It's all hugs and high fives to our amazing crew of customers for keeping our engines revving with success. Special thanks to Brent Wehunt, Kentucky Farm Bureau in Frenchburg, the sponsor of our Athlete of the Month program in Menifee County. Special thanks to Kim Soft, our title sponsor of the From Corner to Corner Athlete of the Week in Montgomery County. Kim Soft, eco-friendly industrial services, is your go-to squad for all things squeaky clean in the commercial and industrial world. Based in the heart of Mount Sterling, they are your friendly cleaning wizards, serving up sparkling magic in areas like Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Huntington, and beyond. Let's turn that grime into shine.
Back in, we're here with Bath County coach, Coach Brewer, and Coach Gooch. So, Coach Brewer, what's the offense look like this year? Have you installed anything yet, or offense, defense? What we got going on?
Yeah, so everybody nowadays wants to talk offense. And you and I talked about this.
All we really talk about defense. Yeah, getting me defense coordinator, and I'm getting worried because he's telling me what we need to do.
If they can't score, then that makes it easier.
Nothing goes down as a W in the business.
I've been the defensive coach at Prestonsburg the last couple of years, and so when Coach Gooch offered to, he stepped in there to help me, and I knew he was, so I've got to kind of go, and I've got a guy that came over, Joseph Wood. I have a lot, and that's another thing, like I said, being back home, maybe I've got some guys like I've got some familiarity with, and Coach Gooch, and then Joe Wood is going to come back. He, whenever I was at Powell, he assisted me there for all 3 years. He does a really good job with quarterbacks and skill position.
Knows your offense.
Knows my offense.
Does a good job.
Yeah, and does a real good job. And he's done a real good job this summer with our quarterbacks and stuff. So, but what was you saying again?
What are you going to do?
Oh yeah.
Defense.
Well, I
gun.
We're not even think about offense.
we're going to start out defense first.
Stop defense.
No, offensively, here's what I, and again, it goes back to what I've said earlier. I believe that it may not be the only way, but it's our way. And so, I kind of I had a lot of success early on in the first, 3 years as a head coach, and with the wing T style offense. Okay, now, if you watch any football at any level now, there is principles of that offense, and even in all your spread offenses are running that. They call it pin and pull. Yep. We call it buck sweep. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing. Now, we don't major in zone a lot, but we have so many gap schemes, and we have so many man schemes, counter schemes, that we really can't, and a lot of our kids are playing both ways. And so, maybe eventually, on down the road, we can get to more of the zone type schemes. It's in the offense, but I've not been able to do that yet.
Got misdirection. If there's an offense that I hate to see as an offensive guy, it's a wing T. I mean, as a defensive guy, as a defensive coach, there's nothing worse than having a team drive the ball down the field and run the clock, and you can't stop it. And I think the wing T has that ability to do that. Especially, they also have the play action pass off it. Every play he has is a play action pass off of it. And he also has misdirection.
An option.
And so it keeps you honest. I mean, you've got to play your position. You can't cheat or it'll kill you. And anyway, go ahead. I think it's a good offense for high school football.
I think rural, high school football, rural area school football, it's a great equalizer. And we mix in option with what we do. And so, and it's a spread. We'll be out of a spread type offense. We'll have a tight end wing, typically with two receivers. And we run RPOs off of all.
One thing Brandon does, quarterback's in a pistol formation, so he's off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So it gives his offense a little more flexibility than a normal wing T where you're under the center.
Yeah, and we will get under center too. That's kind of where we started this spring. I've built, there's always obviously certain situations where you'll want to be into that. But I feel like that you run the ball to win and you throw the ball to score. And it's a mentality, right? If you're going to run the football, it's a mentality that you have to have. I think playing defense kind of fits that, and we're going to start, when we start, we'll start out with defense, and that's what we're going to get. Our goal is to get the kids to buy into running, pursuing and tackling people. And I think that type of mentality will then bleed over into other aspects of your football program.
Sounds like the 2000 Ravens. Run the ball, play defense.
Listen, if y'all have any Ray Lewis, that'd be like, we're gonna.
Well, I tell you what, we got we got at certain positions, we're really limited on skill. We have a lot of linebacker types, but we don't have a lot of skill. And so defensively, we're actually still kind of looking at some different things just because of our skill depth. But we have a really good linebacker, Parker Crouch. It's a sophomore that fits that Ray Lewis mentality.
Yeah.
That I think he's going to grow into that.
Well, and you talked about the chip on your shoulder, and you look at a lot of your best athletes at any sport, and that's kind of the mentality that they play. Nothing's going to be given to me. I'm going to have to go out and earn everything. Every inch, every yard.
Right.
I'm going to have to go take it.
Right.
So you're coming into a new program that hasn't had a lot of success. How do you change that mentality that we're going to, do things differently? It's going to be hard, but if you buy in, the results are going to be there.
You instill a sense of urgency,
mm-hmm.
In terms of we got to do things the right way, and it's got to be done in a very organized but efficient manner. And so, if you go and watch us train in the weight room, I mean, it's on a whistle, there's a clock, and it's just, and it's constant, and there's not a lot of breaks, there's not a lot of downtime. We can knock out a workout in, 40, 45 minutes. So I think in everything we try to do, number one, it's organization, right? You got to be organized. And then number two, you're trying to instill that sense of urgency into your kids that when we come out of this tunnel on Friday night, there's no time to wait around. Let's go handle our business.
Right.
And so, I think little things like trying to find that opportunity to lay that, ingrain that foundation in your players in everything you do. And I think in the weight room is a really important part. And then the way you practice,
right?
Having everything, we're scheduling things out, and you go from period to period to period, and it's just not a lot of wasted time. And I think once you instill that sense of urgency in your players, it's football is a very different sport because in baseball, basketball, if we lose 10 or 12 games, we can still have a pretty good season.
Right.
Well, in football, if you lose 3 or 4 games after your season, you're almost halfway there.
Yeah.
So there has to be like this sense of urgency that, you're going to, practice is, we practice 4 days and you're putting in probably 10 times the amount of practice time as you are actually play time. But it's very important that when you're out here practicing, we have a very specific set of instructions. There's a very specific job that we need execution. The excitement and intensity will be there on Friday night, but we need execution. Right. So we're focused on that during the week.
If there is one thing that, persistence of kids being there every day, that has been one thing that we've had to work on, that, especially in the summer, as hot as it is, the kids are doing other things, and they've just got to learn that that's just part of football. You've got to show up. You've got to be there. You got to make a commitment. You have to be disciplined. And that's kids at this age in football in general, at this time and age that we live in our society that we live in, football is not a fun sport. And it's not a popular sport, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And especially as hot as it is right now, and so we kind of got to walk a fine line, and Coach Brewer and I've talked about that. We've got to be careful about how we handle practice, and I think the kids are up to it, but it is going to take some work.
So I'm glad you touched on that, because my next question was going to be, you've been out of the game for 9 years. How much have kids changed in that 9-year time frame?
Well, the kids that we've coached that are on our field, I told somebody the other day, I love their attitude, and I love their work ethic. Yeah. We just need more of it.
Yeah.
But the kids we have at Bath County that have been on the field this spring, I really enjoyed working with them. I haven't had one problem at all.
No.
It's been a pleasure.
A lot of optimism.
Yeah.
Very optimistic. I think I thought about this before. One thing I've thought about is when I grew up, we were talking about Raw a while ago. I grew up watching Goldberg and Macho Man, and the list goes on. Those were my heroes, right? I mean, in a way, right? Those were I guess.
Yeah,
role models.
We're speaking our language now.
Even in today's society, it's kind of not PC to say, maybe, but they were. Let's be honest. Well, today that's not really the case. Right. And so you've got to find other ways to. I don't know if you got to find other ways, but it is something you got to be.
It takes a special kid in this day and time to want to come to football practice every day when it's 90 degrees.
And get hit over
and put a helmet on. Yep. So it is a challenge. It takes a special kid to do that.
So, Coach Brewer, you got the Bath County job. Why was it important for Coach Gooch to be your first call? To be like, hey, are you in this with me?
Well, you got to have quality coaches. Yeah. I was fortunate. I feel like at Prestonsburg, I had really quality coaches there. And that was, just like the other day, Coach and I met out here at Cracker Barrel. He's got his notepad out. I've got my cell phone out. It's just different. It's a generation.
Trying to catch up.
Not me next time. I'm good with Cracker Barrel. I just want that on the record.
And while we're doing it, he has passed me by, but I've been on this all day today, actually. He got me on Huddle, which is a new thing. And so I'm trying to catch up on our opponents, but
how much do you have to call your wife into the room? Hey, how do you do this?
Well, last spring, quite a bit. But Coach Brewer's pretty good about. I can call him. He can walk me through things too. So he's pretty up on the technology. So he does a great job with Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Promoting the program. He does a great job.
What are the handles? What are the handles on?
Let me hit you up. Like I'd have to look them up. It's been a dead period.
He had been thinking football.
Yeah.
So
But what we were saying there about Coach Gooch assisting and stuff was that just like the other day, there's a lot of familiarity there, and then we sat out there for probably about 3 hours, and he was he tells me things that I need to maybe something I need to tell our staff, or he feels like he's got a lot of experience. I mean, how long have you been a head coach?
Head coach, 24 years.
And plays, he's played, and I mean, he's been around, a lot of different programs. I mean, college wise, Birmingham, played in the USF. I mean, so, I learned, I cut my teeth, I guess, in his program. And so, he's able to, I look at him as a mentor to me. And so when he can tell, I feel like he's not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We got a pretty good relationship.
Yeah.
We kind of understand each other.
Yeah. And so he could tell me things, and I can, because I want to be better too.
Right.
And so
I told him, make sure to get on me and slow me down,
Yeah, I do have to do that, man. He gets going. It's like, yeah.
I told him, you got to be careful this summer. We're going to take more water breaks, and if I get too wild, tell me to just calm down. I'll do it.
Well, some of your former players hearing that, they might take some exception to that. Like, where was this Coach Gooch?
Well, the last 5 years, every year everybody said I got softer and softer.
So, Coach, kind of an opposite question. What do you hope to bring to Coach Brewer and his staff and the athletes of Bath County?
Well, I just hope to be able to bring them some stability. Of course, Coach Brewer's let me off this summer, but stability of being able to go through the summer grind of practice, the organization, which Coach Brewer does a great job on, and just making sure that everybody stays plugged in and day out, because it's a day in, day out job.
Yeah.
It's even though it's high school football, it's just like college football now with, comparing it to the NFL with NIL and transfer portal and all these things. All sports from high school up are getting more and more complicated and getting more and more technical. And so I just want to bring stability and support. I want to be supportive to Coach Brewer and the program.
Well, I mean, no matter how much things change, and they obviously have changed. And you said you've been a head coach for 24 years. At the end of the day, it's still football.
Yeah, good point.
And so, I mean, we can change all the stuff, but
you can't change hard.
Right? Can't change all that.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, we're still going to have to line up, and we're going to have to try to stop the other team from.
You can't make it easier.
Right.
I mean, it's football's a tough sport.
And I think that fact gets lost a lot, in like the rules changes and stuff that are trying to make the sport safer.
That's right.
And it's not necessarily making the sport safer.
No, you can do all you want. It's still a tough game.
Yeah.
We send each other stuff all the time, but I sent Coach Brewer something on, Nick Saban said, you guys, he was giving a speech, they'll catch him off on mic.
Yeah.
He said, you guys got to get past hard.
Yeah.
You got to get over. You got to get over hard.
Yeah.
Football is a hard sport. It's a hard game. You got to get past that. And I think once the kids get that in their mind and they get past hard,
embrace it.
And embrace it, exactly. So
I think we got a group of kids there too that's ready to, they're up for that challenge. And like Coach said earlier, we need a few more, but the ones we have there is a tone there. There is an attitude there. Where they are accepting that challenge and wanting that, because when you're down, you don't want to stay there, right? I mean, it's human nature to not want to stay there, right? And so I really sense that from our group, and we got a good group of seniors. It's about 12 seniors.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of down a little bit.
We got a really good mix, I think, of sophomore and seniors kind of overlap.
And had really good participation from our freshman class this summer. We probably had 12 or 14 freshmen there every day this summer. And that was really good to see. But I came over here, I guess we can talk about this a little bit, but I came over here during February or March, I think I started working at the middle school. And so I was able to get to know a bunch of those kids and talk to them. And so it's kind of paying off. And it really, it really kind of showed me once this season's over, I need to find a way to get down there some and shake hands.
Well,
kind of get to know who
that was kind of where my question. So you're going to be somewhere between 35, maybe 40 players going into the season. But like, have you had an opportunity to talk to the middle school coaches and get a connection there? And then, is there a community program where are the kids? Is it flag football or is it tackle football with the kids in the community? Because your program lies on the kids that are 3, 4, 5, 6 years old right now, and building it, towards that future.
And that's a really good point. I think a lot of people feel like, when you come in a situation where we are with our program, to get the program up and on its feet and going, it starts at the high school. And, there's no short, that's not, you've got to start when they're really young. And that was some things that they had going, Bath County has going for them, is that we've got a really good, they start flag football. My son will be in the 2nd grade. I've already been talking to him about getting him on a flag football team, kindergarten through 2nd. You go 3rd and 4th grade. So we had youth camp the last week there before dead period. Had good participation, good turnout there, and
they have a junior pro program.
Junior pro program, that's right.
They're part of it.
Yeah, got a league.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of teams up 64 from Bath up that way who, there's a lot of participation. It's really, and then not a lot of travel. Although everybody's pretty close and relatively.
But they are teaching fundamentals. I think that's the problem they've had here with the flag football thing that they do, or some places. I don't know if it's here, but some places have had a problem. But they are in pads at a certain grade level, and they're teaching fundamentals of the sport.
Yeah, which is important. So we're going to take our final break real fast before we come back and wrap up with the coaches. Again, we're with Bath County football.
Special thanks to Kim Soft, our title sponsor of the From Corner to Corner Athlete of the Week in Montgomery County. KimSoft, eco-friendly industrial services, is your go-to squad for all things squeaky clean in the commercial and industrial world. Based in the heart of Mount Sterling, they are your friendly cleaning wizards, serving up sparkling magic in areas like Lexington, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Huntington, and beyond. Let's turn that grime into shine. Feeling jittery about diving into the world of property? Fret not. Let Kentucky Realty Group help. Whether you're gearing up to buy, sell, or just need some guidance, let their expert team help sprinkle in some magic on your experience. From cozy condos to grand mansions, they've got your back. Seeking a fixer-upper, a slice of luxury, maybe a peaceful rural retreat, they've got the keys to all those kingdoms. Dive into their treasure trove of listings and let the property adventure begin. You're listening to the From Corner to Corner podcast, brought to you by Tutu's Sweet Treats, where you can treat yourself to our divine lineup of desserts that will dance on your taste buds. Whether you fancy gooey chocolate brownies or our deliciously moist cakes, we've got a treat for every sweet tooth out there. Give yourself a sweet escape and take a bite of pure bliss. It's time to surrender to your cravings, grab a fork, and dig into our homemade goodies for a dose of sugary happiness.
And we're back with Coach Gooch, Coach Brewer, Bath County football coaching staff. Guys, so, we've talked about coming into the program, talked about the players there. Success is measured in a bunch of different ways. You would love to go 10-0, win the district, win the region, go in the state tournament, right? Like, may or may not be feasible. How would you define success not by wins and losses this year?
Go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Coach, it's like,
Well, I think that's, to me, that's a pretty easy answer. I think, in my opinion, when people leave after watching us play, when they leave the game, I want them to be able to say that football team is disciplined, they're tough, and they're committed to what they're doing. And I mean, that's nothing you can measure on a scoreboard. Nope. And so, my vision is that when a parent, a fan, student body, and they can have a lot. We're proud of the way our kids play and the way they handle themselves in tough moments of football.
I'll use another quote. Bo Schembecker used to say that you never. What was it he said? He said you never stay the same. You either get better or you get worse, one or the other, but you never stay the same. So one slogan that I had was day by day we get better and better. So each day we wanted to improve. And I think if we improve as the season goes on and we're a better football team at the end of the season, and that's how we can measure our success.
Right.
And that's not easy to do.
No.
I mean, because
you're going to have injuries. You're going to have slumps. You're going to have bad bounces.
Right.
And if,
Yeah.
Some of my experience as a head coach, and I reflecting back at when I was at Powell, we started out 0-4 one year, and we were 8 and we went to a regional runner-up.
Yeah.
After being 0-4.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that kind of that says a lot about the kind of mentality that our kids had. It was sort of like we're not giving up.
Right.
We're committed, we're tough, and we're going to be disciplined and do what we're supposed to do. So, I feel like, and to me, that's something that, in football too, we come out the gate in the fall when school starts back. We're right now on deck. And so when school starts back, we're the only, thing going on. And so we sort of set the tone, and we, we set the tone for the school year.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Of what people, what people, what the community believes is possible. And so, I think if you can get your kids to understand that and kind of see that vision, that helps.
Right.
And I do feel like we have to have some success early.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I'm watching some film now, just to get a feel of the teams we're going to scrimmage and play, because we got to show some type of success in a scrimmage. First ball game is very important. It's kind of sets tempo or the standard of where you're going to go.
Yeah.
You don't want to start out 0-4. You will sometime. But again, you want to start out with some success, and the kids need to see some success and see what it feels like.
So who do you all open with this year?
Our scrimmage?
Yeah, scrimmage or first regular season.
Yeah, our
game.
first scrimmage is we are at Grant County with Bourbon, and I think there's going to be one other team, and then we're hosting the EKC in the second scrimmage. We play Nicholas. And then our opening game of the season is Fairview at home, and then we play Betsy Lane the second week at home. So, like Coach said, if we, those first 2 weeks having 2 home games back to back and getting off to a good start can really, especially with a program that's, I would say, in its infancy, and in terms of maturity and growing up,
right,
would getting off to a good start, having 2 good scrimmages. And then getting off to a good start those first 2 weeks will really help.
Something you talk about 24 years head coach, something that's changed in that 24 years is social media. And we kind of touched on that. How big a part is social media to you and to your program, to market your kids? Because a lot of times that's what, the kids are worried about. Who can see me? Where can I go? Where do I have the opportunity to play? So how big a part does social media play in high school football?
Well, to give you an example, whenever I worked at the middle school the last half of this year, and our SRO officer there, Tim Brown, he lives here in Mount Sterling. He messaged me today and was like, "Hey," we were kind of going back and forth. He said, "I seen some of your stuff on Facebook," and he's like, "It's pretty awesome." So yeah, I mean, it's something that the people like parents like to see. And there's programs out there that makes that stuff a little bit easier nowadays. You don't have to be a graphics design engineer to, throw together a good graphic.
Do Instagram too.
Yeah, I haven't got Instagram yet. We got Twitter and a Facebook.
That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Twitter seems to be big in the kids' world right now. With communication, being able to get themselves out there for colleges to see them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through dead period. When you all come out of dead period, what's that first week look like? When do you all first start practicing back?
July the 10th, which is Wednesday. And we got 2 practices, and then we go to Fleming County for there's a 7-on-7 and lineman challenge. I think Round's going to be there, and a couple other schools, maybe Nicholas. And then the next week we go to Raceland for a 7-on-7. But we're each week we're going to start out with defense, and we don't start school till August 26th this year. So we were kind of
putting that pressure on me. We're always going to start out with defense.
I saw that.
Even gave a point to you. We're gonna start with defense.
I think it's something you got to really get.
It's like that NWO.
So, Coach, we're here talking about Bath County football, but as you walked in, you saw the helmet here on the table, and you said there was a story with that.
Well, actually, when I first took the job, they had the Redskins Indian, and I think the helmets were blue. Anyway, I think they haven't won. I think they were like 0-20 when I first got here. Program was rock bottom, so I wanted to change everything. Phil Risen was the guy that pretty much recruited and brought me in here. And I said, "You okay with red helmets?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I think I'd like to put an arrowhead on there." He said, "How about an arrowhead with the MC in the middle?" I said, "Oh, that'd be great." He said, Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs. And so we did the logo, feeling like everybody would recognize the MC because of the Redskin or Chiefs football helmet.
Yeah.
That's kind of the story. And so we kind of changed a lot, tried to make things a little different, and didn't want to go down the same path.
Well, so it's an interesting segue here. So you've kind of come in and you've had to change things. What was the community reception like when because sometimes we get stuck in the same old. It's like, we're used to the blue helmets, Coach, and you switched it up and we got the red helmets now.
Well, I really didn't care. I liked it, and I had great support from administration. And that first year was rough. We were 1-10 or 1-9. We played 10 or 11 games. I think we were 1-9. We won our last game against Round County, actually. And then the next year, we ended up 8-4. And then from there on, we were, anywhere between 5, 7, 8 wins each year. And it takes time. It took time for the community and the kids. And we had to build the junior pro program back up. And I had great help with that from a guy named Kelly Murphy, that you guys know. Passed away a couple years ago. He's a great man, did a great job helping me with that. And Brian Wagers and a lot of people in the community helped get our junior pro program back on track. Dwight Akers, James Frazier, a lot of people like that.
And that's what it takes. It takes
one person can't do it all.
It takes people outside of just the coaching staff to garner the excitement of younger kids.
That's right.
So I think.
Why are you looking at me, Wes?
I think Adams tried to do the same thing
because you're the one that feels the frustration the most of any of us sitting here.
The other kids that are in the area, whether they play here, whether they play Clark, whether they play Bath, you just want to teach them as much as possible, so it garners excitement inside of them.
By the way, when y'all ordered coach gear, I'm a 2X if you want to send something my way.
I'm say that Bath County football shirt is pretty sweet over there.
This football helmet, I wonder if we could
put a BC on there,
dust it for fingerprints. I bet there's some fingerprints in there of Coach Gooch like this. All of a sudden, my fingers you.
Just checking the fit.
Face mask check here. So you had talked about your slogan. Does Bath have a slogan this year?
We've been just be tough. It's pretty simple. We've talked to them about you just got to be tough. And I think, we both hit on practice attendance, being consistent, embracing that kind of mentality, a brand. I don't know if you listen to much outlaw music, but now it's a guy named Frank Forrester has this song called Riding for the Brand.
Yeah.
And so that's, we're trying to create our brand.
Well, and that's really what it's all about.
Put our stamp on it.
It's all about building who you are, your identity, your brand. And no doubt, sounds like you guys are well on your way. So when we come out to Owensville some Friday this fall, and we watch Bath County football, what are we going to see on the field? What's the product going to look like?
Well, they're
going to play defense.
Hopefully, we're going to fly around on defense, and we're going to control the ball on offense.
Yeah,
run the clock, be physically dominant.
Yeah, that's it kind of goes back to what we were talking about too earlier. Just that discipline, toughness, commitment, just having a lot of pride in what you do.
Right.
And we still got a ways to go. We still need team speed. I mean,
Well, I think what happens too, and we kind of hit on this earlier in terms of the last couple of years there. I think one of the first things that happen when your football program kind of goes through a lull, your skilled players sort of maybe stick just to basketball or baseball, and football doesn't maybe look as attractive, and so we've got to figure out a way to winning. We've got to figure out a way to win some games.
Yeah, that reminds me. I'm not used to this. We actually had this spring. We had how many track kids come to practice? They would practice track and came to spring football. That's our skill kids, and they were good football players.
Yeah,
and we've got to share athletes at a school this size.
Absolutely,
and that showed me a lot right there that coaches are up to sharing athletes. I think that's another problem we got today.
Yeah, well, a coach from
Don't get me started on that.
A coach from another program from the Alan Messer, he coaches the men's soccer pro. But one day when we were coming off the field, he got me over and said, "Hey, he said you guys are practicing hard, and I think his son plays ball. He helps with some of his son's kind of middle school level, but he's you get it. Just like you said, he's just positive, and to have someone from another sport kind of identify that and they say, hey, you're looking good. And then like the track coach working with us with those, we had probably 4 kids doing the track, and that's a really good sign.
Yep. It's awesome. Well, we do have a mobile setup, so hopefully you would accept us out there and let us set up and go live on one of the football games for sure.
Stream it live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Come on out. Yeah,
we have the ability to do that. So
we'd love to see you guys come out there for sure.
Well, sounds great. You guys have anything else?
I do not.
Okay.
I told Coach that we try to get him out of here by the time Ross.
I told him we'd turn this. I told him we'd turn on us.
Almost time. All right.
Well, and so hopefully this won't be the last time you guys come on. And the invite we send to everybody else is when you come back, feel free to bring your athletes with you. We love to have players on here as well. So
great.
Yeah. Great.
And if you're getting new uniforms, a Bath County football jersey would look good on this wall.
We could do that.
So
yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, thank you all so much for coming and spending your Monday night with us.
Thanks for having us.
Just a little bit of business here. Next Monday night at 6 o'clock, we're going to have Alice Lloyd's show, where we're going to have Ashton Barrett, Kylie Hall, and Ethan Overhoser all commits to Alice Lloyd. They're all going to be here. And then at 7 o'clock, we've got Mason Moore, UK baseball player and former Rowan County pitcher. He's going to be on promoting his upcoming pitching camp. So really exciting night lined out for that. And there you guys have it for this week's edition of the From Corner to Corner Coach's Corner, presented by WinCity Sports Cards. Remember to help us promote our podcast, our Athletes of the Week and Month program. We do what we do for our communities, our teams, our coaches, and our students. They deserve it. We'll catch you guys next week.
Stay safe, friends.
The Moco Four Horsemen would like to thank you for listening to From Corner to Corner. Be sure to go out and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Whatever podcast platform that you listen to us on, be sure to go out and give us a 5-star review. Thanks as always, and we look forward to seeing you next week.